Let me ask you something serious. If nothing changes financially in your life for the next 10 years, where will you be? Will you still be working hard with little to show for it? Will your income increase, but your stress increase with it? Or will you actually own more than you do today? 10 years will pass whether you plan for it or not. The real question is this: will you use those 10 years to work only, or to build? In today's episode, we are talking about how to turn your salary into assets in 10 years. This is not about hype. It is not about shortcuts. It is not about gambling with money. It is about structure, discipline, ownership. If you care about building long-term stability instead of temporary income, subscribe and follow this series. Because here we focus on turning effort into ownership and time into freedom. Now let us begin. How to turn your salary into assets. In 10 years, most people spend 10 years working. Very few spend 10 years building. There is a difference. You can work for a decade and remain dependent on income. Or you can use that same decade to convert salary into ownership. 10 years is long enough to change your financial direction completely. Let us begin with one truth. A salary by itself does not create wealth. A system applied to a salary creates wealth. If you earn and spend, you stay in motion. If you earn and allocate intentionally, you build structure. Now imagine this. You earn $100,000 per year. That is about $8,333 per month before taxes. After taxes, the monthly take-home will depend on your location, filing status, and deductions. If you simply live on what comes in, 10 years can pass and nothing permanent remains. But if you direct that salary with structure, 10 years becomes powerful. Let us break this into phases. Years 1 and 2. Foundation. Your focus is not luxury. Your focus is structure. First, calculate your wealth gap. Income minus essential expenses. If you cannot identify this number, you cannot build. Second, eliminate high-interest debt aggressively. High-interest debt works against you and weakens compounding. Third, build 3 to 6 months of essential reserves. Not lifestyle expenses. Essential expenses. This creates stability. Proverbs 21:5 says the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Diligence begins with foundation. Years 3 to 5. Accumulation. Now your focus shifts to asset building. Increase your investment rate steadily, aiming for 20% if it is realistic for your situation. Automate contributions immediately after income arrives. Think in asset categories. Equities for growth. Retirement accounts for tax efficiency. Index funds for diversification. Real assets when financially ready. Skill development for earning power. Ecclesiastes 11:2 teaches diversification because uncertainty exists. Diversification reduces shock. Now understand compounding. If you invest consistently for 10 years, the later years often contribute more growth than the early years because the base is larger. That is why consistency matters more than timing. Years 6 to 8. Expansion. At this stage, your reserves are stable. Your investments are consistent. Now you increase ownership. You may consider business participation, rental property if prepared, dividend-producing assets, expanding skill-based income. The goal is simple. Reduce dependency on a single paycheck. Matthew 25 teaches multiplication, not burial. Resources are meant to grow. Preservation alone is not enough. Years 9 and 10. Consolidation. Now you measure progress. Track net worth annually. Assets minus liabilities. Evaluate debt levels. Increase your investment percentage if lifestyle has remained controlled. At this point, your structure should be visible. You may not feel wealthy, but you are no longer fragile. 10 years of consistent allocation can produce stronger reserves, compounding investments, multiple income streams, reduced stress, increased optionality. Optionality is freedom. Freedom means you can make decisions without panic. Now let us discuss what destroys the 10-year plan. Lifestyle inflation. Upgrading expenses every time income increases. Comparison. Trying to match visible lifestyles instead of building invisible ownership. Inconsistency. Investing only when motivated. Wealth is not built by emotion. It is built by repetition. Now let us simplify the 10-year formula. Step 1. Live below your means consistently. Step 2. Invest automatically and consistently. Step 3. Increase investment rate as income increases. Step 4. Diversify across asset categories. Step 5. Build at least one additional income stream. Step 6. Avoid unnecessary debt expansion. Step 7. Track progress annually. 10 disciplined years can change your trajectory permanently. This applies whether you are a student preparing early, an employee building structure, or someone restarting financially. The timeline may adjust. The principles do not. Salary is temporary. Assets endure. Income requires presence. Ownership creates leverage. Do not waste a decade only earning. Use the decade to build. If this episode gave you clarity, subscribe and follow Christian Financial Wisdom as we continue building structure, discipline, and long-term freedom. Because the goal is not just earning more. The goal is owning more and turning time into freedom.